Good morning to BCB Live here on a beautiful Tuesday morning. We have a great show lined up for you and a very special guest today. But before we get to that, it's Drive Safe Dave here along with Sir Rick. Once again, man of the boards. How you doing this morning, Sir Rick?
Good morning, top of the morning, Drive Safe. You know what? It's every day we bring our A game. It's not just today. It's every single day. But yes, indeed, Dave, we do have Sheriff Lamb joining us in about 8 minutes. We're excited to talk about what's going on that border, the driver safety along that whole area. We're going to surprise him with some questions, Dave. Get a surprise question out there because he didn't want to be warned about anything. So you got to get ready.
I got him lined up. I got a few curveballs.
He doesn't know who Drive Safe Dave is. He doesn't know who the master of disaster is, and that is you indeed. Hey, Dave, we've been talking about this. I think we've really spent time talking about this over the year off and on, and that's that driver coercion. We were talking about it last week about getting drivers to, guilting them into driving, fatigue or increasing their hours. How we really saw that probably more pre-electronic logs than we do today. However, coercion is significantly up in 2022, and I'm talking it's going to break records by all means, and those are the driver complaints, talking about shippers, receivers, dispatchers, putting that guilt, putting that force, saying, if you don't run this, we're not going to continue to give you that freight. Driver coercion way up. Dave, talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, the reality is I truly believe that people are trying to push people into trucks and put them out there unsafe on the road. And you know what? Drivers are becoming more educated on the fact that, hey, you can't do that to me. You can't force me to get out there and be unsafe. And I'll tell you, it's true what's going on, and it's evident in the numbers of people that are complaining. I think they're already talking about the numbers doubling over time over this year than any other year. But let me tell you, it's a problem, and it's not just guilt. It's actually can be. I mean, they can threaten you with not giving you freight, not giving you the ability to run, or going to hurt your miles. I think that's been said, or you know what, I'll need to take you off this lane and put you on a different lane, somebody that can make the delivery. Let me tell you, that is not the way we run freight. That is not the way here at BCB Live. We want you to understand how it works. How it works is you run safe, right? And if you can't drive, you can be just tired someday, Rick, or you can be sick one day. If you're tired or sick, you need to communicate that in.
But to the dispatchers, Dave, to those shippers, to those receivers that are doing that, listen to me. It's against the law. It came back in it was like July of 2016. Somewhere in 16, that coercion law came in because drivers were driving fatigued, were being guilted into running that way. Listen, it's not what we want you to do as a driver, but as a dispatcher, as a manager, as a shipper receiver, you can't do that either. It's the little things you can't say. And Dave, that's like, hey, you know what? That load is hot. If I was you, I wouldn't be late on that. Or, hey, if you don't make it, it's okay. Just know you're going to be there for 8 days.
Yeah, you're going to be sitting under that load. If you don't make it by Friday at 5, by 3 o'clock, you're going to be sitting there all weekend, so you might as well get comfortable if you can't make it. I understand, but I'm just letting you know the cold, hard facts. And I'm telling you, that's the kind of thing that has to be, and even implied, you know what I mean? Just an implication that you're going to suffer financially, or you're going to suffer, with an employee. And I'm going to tell you right now, the rules have changed dramatically, and drivers are becoming more educated in understanding the law and how it needs to be applied. I'm telling you right now, this is going to go across the board. This affects everybody. Believe it or not, if you're a broker out there, don't think you're away from this rule or this law, because if you coerce a driver or make them feel unsafe or threaten them with sanctions and money or whatever when they tell you it's unsafe to drive, and you do that to them, I'm telling you, you fall under the coercion rule as well.
And there's no doubt too that I think we're seeing a little bit more of this, as 2022 starts to shape out a little different than many of us predicted, and that is the freight volumes going down. Drive Safe Dave, we all know this, is that when freight volumes shrink up, Now the shippers, now the dispatchers, now everybody, they stand a little taller, right?
Oh, yeah.
They get a little bit more forceful because all of a sudden, they control it, right?
Yeah, before they were like, hey, I need you, you're good, are you good? I understand, hey, don't worry about it, I got you covered. Now it's like, hey, I need on-time service. If I'm paying you, I need on-time service, and I don't care. I don't want to hear your problems. I don't want to.
True that. Hey, Dave, we're going to jump into that. We're going to go to a break. We're going to go into a little bit of freight and review because I want to talk about this right here. I believe the coercion's tying into that. Freight and review real fast. We'll go to a commercial after that, and we'll come back with our interview with Sheriff Lamb as well. This is BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation, and we'll be right back.
You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News down in Texas. We're going to talk a little bit about this. We had another $1.5 million seizure. If ever there's a time to do a pre or post trip, it's if you're doing something wrong. Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob. You can kind of see where the visibility can be compromised a little bit. Again, right where that rain is.
And most importantly, safety. One of the things that we must do is make sure that safety is the number one thing that we focus on.
Going into an intersection yellow is not the way. That's to clear an intersection, not to enter an intersection.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live. Welcome back to BCB Live, safest station in the nation. We're going to jump into the freight because we talk about coercion and what we see as trends. Remember when freight was heavy? Remember when there was more freight than ever before? There was all these things going on. We learned about logistics. We learned about the supply chain. For many of us, it was the first time you heard of it. Look at the volume today, down to 12,674. Just 3 months ago, Dave, just 3 months ago in January, freight was near an all-time high. We've seen the effects of the high fuel, right? We have a war going on. We don't feel comfortable with going out and buying things. We have vacations coming up as well, and all of a sudden we're spending more money on those plane tickets, leaving less of goods to go out there and buy. A lot of money being spent on service, and not to mention the freight continues to drop. And did I mention anything about inflation? Only for about a year now. So here we go. We look at the volume right now, and I want you to see something though. We go back and we look at the, see if I can do it. We got oh no, we have a shutdown going down again. All right, forget that. But what I want to tell you is that freight volume continues to drop down. And I wish I could show you this, but what we saw is diesel is as high as it's been right now, holding steady at about a 507, 508 a gallon. Many of you went out last year, purchased your equipment, paid an all-time high. And you paid an all-time high when freight rates were also at an all-time high. But here we go. Today, freight rates are down 10% from just 30 days ago. Diesel is up. You buying your diesel, going to the fuel island, is up 40% from 2 months ago, and now it's holding steady. So your rates are down. The fuel's way up here. You're in trouble, trouble, trouble. I'm going to tell you something right now. Pay attention to your cost. I wish you could see the rejections. The shippers, these large brokers, the large carriers right now, we're taking all of the freight. We're not letting it hit the spot market. When the freight doesn't hit the spot market, guess what? Your rates get effective negatively. And so here you go. Coercion, what's going on right now? Well, the shippers, the carriers, the brokers, all of a sudden, for it has been a year and a half, the control is back in their hands. They control the shipments. They control what's going on that spot market. You, the carrier, you, the independent contractor, that one of, you went out last year and y'all created the greatest, we had more trucking companies start last year than ever before. Okay, but here's the deal. Many of you started the business paying more for the equipment, more for your truck than I'm talking not a little bit more, I'm talking 50% higher for an older truck than what had ever been sold before. You went out and bought trailers higher than they've ever cost before. your rates were higher than they ever were before. And it was good for a minute because diesel was also very low at $3.20 a gallon. Today, $5.15 a gallon at many places, $5.04 across the board. Freight rejections are significantly lower, meaning you don't have the volume of freight out there to choose from, which all of a sudden means that your rates that you were getting $3 a mile perhaps, understand that if it's down 10%, you're down 30 cents a mile. And you're paying 30 to 40 cents more on your diesel right now. Costs are up. You're going to have to watch it. Listen, we're coming right back. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with Sheriff Lamb. This is BCB Live, and we're the safest station in the nation.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live.
Crappy time for that. Did the same thing it did last time.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day.
Saw that line go across.
We're here to make it better. The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
You got to be prepared to stop. And when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
2, 1.
All right, and welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. And let me just tell you right now, we've got one of the biggest, well-known, and most famous people here coming on live here at BCB, and it is Sheriff Lamb. Sir Rick, bring Sheriff Lamb on.
Bam! There he is. Sheriff Lamb, how you doing today?
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
You know what? I couldn't be doing. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but you know what? We're going to fight through it, Sheriff Lamb. We're a little motivated, just like you are. Every day we got to go out and fight our fights. Our fights are with the computer, a little bit different than say what you'd have to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hey, look, I learned a long time ago in this profession, audio visual always kicks your butt, no matter how prepared you think you are.
Oh, there's no doubt. Sheriff Lamb, so first of all, I want to thank you sincerely for being on our show. We're honored to have you. And, you know, we spoke last week, and I'm just going to jump into it. We have, you know, our audience are truck drivers for the most part, a lot of shippers and receivers. But I was talking to you about the truck drivers, and I went out and asked some drivers this question. And Sheriff Lamb, I'm going to throw it to you because they need to hear this answer. I asked them how safe do they feel out there on the road. Most of them said they feel safe at a truck stop. You know, and that's an actual truck stop. But when it comes to that border area, they don't feel real safe, especially with not very much parking. Sheriff Lamb, the question is this: should our drivers today feel safe along that border?
Unfortunately, Rick, I don't think Americans in general should feel real safe. You're allowing over last month was 217,000 apprehensions, of which they only sent back 15,000. Plus, you had 66,000 gotaways. Those are people that were seen coming across the border that they didn't catch. Now, that's almost 300,000 people that came into this country from somewhere else that we just don't know who they are, what criminal history they have, whether it's here or in their own country. And so I think on the whole, as Americans, we should feel a little bit uneasy with what's going on in our communities. Now, as it relates to the roads, that's a great question because I think in certain areas along that border, you know, or some of the inland truck stops, I've got several truck stops in my county along the I-10. I would certainly be a little bit more cautious just because you don't know what you're going to get into. Every one of those farmers down along that southern portion of the Arizona and ranchers have had a vehicle stolen at some point. These are folks that just made it into the country, and you don't know what they're going to do and who they are. So absolutely, I think your truckers should be cautious. Now, are we having calls for truckers being, their trucks being taken at gunpoint or any of that stuff? No, but I do think that there should be a heightened alert.
Hey, Sheriff.
A long answer for that, but.
So let me ask you a quick question, and we're going to get right to the meat of it. Article 47 is going to be repealed on May 23rd. How is that going to impact you and your staff and what you've got going on right there in your county?
And I don't mean to correct you. It's Title 42, and Title 42 is going away. Now, Title 42 was instituted to send people back to Mexico because of COVID. Now, Title 42, as I gave you the numbers earlier, 217,000 people apprehended. They sent back 15,000 people, and they probably did that. Majority of that would have been under Title 42. What Title 42 does when it goes away is it sends a message throughout the world that our borders are now completely open. And so I believe you're going to see double the surge. I would not be shocked to see probably in May, June. June's a little hot, but I wouldn't be surprised to see 400,000 or 500,000 people trying to come to this country. Huge caravans, people showing up at the border at once. So not a good situation, and clearly our government just doesn't put America first.
I know that you actually service your county's pretty big, with almost 500,000 people there. And you got basically one person for every 1,000 people working for you. How is staffing affecting you to help control this problem?
Oh, look, I think everybody in law enforcement is a little behind the 8 ball on staffing, and not to mention, we've got, just in my area where I live, there's 8,000 new homes being built in here. But we haven't really planned. Well, we have planned. We've got to actually get with our board and try to keep up with this growth. But what it does is when you have that kind of growth, or when you have this size of a county, I have to make sure that people's communities are safe first and foremost. And then I can apply some resources to help Border Patrol with their mission, which is trying to stop humans and drugs from being trafficked into America. So we definitely have a staffing issue. I think we're doing pretty good for deputies. Where we really have a staffing issue is in the jail. So not to take any of you away from the trucking industry, but if you want to get into the detention industry, we're hiring.
Okay, it's good stuff. Hey, I want everybody to understand exactly where your county is. It's along the I-10 corridor right there at Eloy. Every truck driver in America knows where Eloy is because that's where all the truck stops are, and it splits off in 8 and then 10 continues on up. But I want to tell you, as we look at this, what can truck drivers do to positively help you out there? Because believe it or not, the kings and queens of the road know the road better than anybody else. I truly believe that out there. What can they do to help you?
That's a great question. I would say it's the old, if you see something, say something. If you see something suspicious. Now, typically what you're going to see on the freeway is, even if it's 2 cars, one in the fast lane, one in the number 1 lane, but they're both driving basically the same speed, that is going to be of concern to us. Or 2 vehicles trailing each other, not passing anybody. That is also going to be of concern to us because typically when you have a major drug load, you'll have a vehicle that follows them. So if any police officers get behind the load vehicle, that other vehicle is designed to take that attention away. So they'll commit a traffic infraction and hopefully get pulled over instead of the load vehicle. But yeah, if you see something on the road that's suspicious, please call us. Let us come out, and better to be safe than sorry. And if you're seeing vehicles that are driving erratically or suspiciously, absolutely safe. We've got to keep those highways safe. It's not easy. We grew up around trucks as well. My dad had a trucking company, and so this is not foreign to me. And I understand how difficult the job is. It's only getting harder and harder the more people we have driving on our freeways. And they don't seem to care about the law either, so that doesn't help either.
You talk about some of these challenges. I want to know, what is the highest risk that you face every day? I know you don't feel the danger, but what really is the highest risk factor that you have out there in your county? Is it the drugs? Is it the smuggling of the human trafficking? What is the highest risk factor do you think you see for not only your people, not only your deputies, but also for the average citizen?
So I think the major issues that we're facing here in America, and I'm going to break this up into 2 just quick answers. I think the major issues we're facing here in America is the effects from the open border. That human trafficking and drug trafficking into this country, it's going to affect our economy. It's going to affect our communities. We're allowing criminals from other countries to come in here. We're allowing drugs, dangerous drugs like fentanyl to come in here. Now that parlays into the second half of the answer. I think the greatest risk that we face in law enforcement, obviously you're seeing an increase in people hurting officers, shooting at officers, killing officers. That's of concern to us. But I'm really concerned about fentanyl. I mean, fentanyl can have an immediate impact and can kill us. It can hurt us. You could put powder into a room of people and it will kill everybody in there. So I'm very concerned about the risks that fentanyl poses, and it directly correlates to those same open border issues. But I think it'll be one of the major challenges. Clearly it is, because it is the leading cause of death in America for the ages of 18 to 45. So, and our country knows where it's coming from, yet they do nothing. Our politicians say nothing, and our media says nothing about it, mainstream media.
So, and these are coming in across the border. Where are they coming in across the border? Is it just rampant everywhere in any spot on the border, or is it coming in any particular areas that you see or identify as?
No, they certainly have their areas where they push drugs through more than others. And then you have areas where they're pushing bodies through. You got to remember, the cartel, they're making cash on these bodies, what we call bodies. These are the humans that they're trafficking in. They actually advertise in other countries for people to show up here, because then they charge them $5,000, $6,000 to come across the border. And when they do come across the border, they're collecting that cash in hand. And anybody out there who owns a business, which the majority of your listeners do, what is king in business? Cash is king. And the cartels are making money hand over fist. And so their need to traffic the drugs is still there. It's higher now than ever. But they're able to intermix that a lot easier because of the human loads that are happening as well. I would say Arizona is, just to give you the statistics, they estimate that almost 50% of all illegal drugs in America come through Arizona's borders. The other piece would probably be Southern California and then Texas.
Wow, that's significant and highly dangerous. So here, let's get down to it. You're actually talking to one of the largest constituencies in the United States in one area, and that's truck drivers. What can we do with our power of vote, our voice? If you had an opportunity right now to speak to those people, what do they need to be saying to the people up there and watch? Because you're saying that they're not saying anything, they're not doing anything, and I think it's up to each of us to find a way to make that voice heard. And I'm telling you, you're talking to a big voice. You're talking to a lot of people that have the ability to call their congressman, have the ability to be heard somewhere, somehow, with whomever it is they need to speak to in Washington. They can make a difference. What if you had a chance to say something to them, what would it be?
Well, I would say thank you, first of all, to all those truck drivers who participated in the Canadian convoy and what they did up in Canada. That was amazing. We had a convoy come through our county the other day. Unfortunately, I was in Florida when it did, and I missed that convoy. I think that you're the voice of the truckers across this country. Most people do not realize that our stores and everything that we have in America and how it functions is due large in part and almost all to the truckers in this country. So thank you for what you do. Your voice still matters, and we need to let our voice be heard this year in this election. These folks, first of all, this is a battle of globalism. They are trying to globalize the world, and America is the last little burr in their saddle. So they're trying to they're trying to reinvent America. And then you have a class warfare. They're trying to strangle the life out of the middle class, create a pauper situation and elitist. And so these folks are not listening. They're not. They don't have our best interests in mind. They don't have America First policies. And so I think we've got, and the truckers are a great place to do it. You guys go all over the country. You can speak to a lot of people. I think we've got to make sure, first and foremost, that we vote people in that will serve their communities, that will put America first, and that will understand that they serve us, not we serve them. And also, don't be afraid to send some letters to your congressmen, your senators, to post on your social media. That stuff matters.
Yeah, and you're also an elected official, so you understand how important it is that you hear what's coming on. And as we talk about it here, I think when we spoke in our first meeting, I'll tell you what really hit home was that this isn't an Arizona County problem, is it? This isn't a local issue. You're on the front lines facing these issues every day with you and your deputies out there trying to make a genuine difference. But really, this is affecting all of America, correct?
Absolutely. Everybody thinks this is an Arizona or a Texas problem when they watch on the news. And look, I go a lot of places all over the country. And they're all, they'll say, wow, that stinks for you guys in Arizona. It's like, no, we're just the pass-through point. We're just the loading dock. After that, the product, which is human beings and drugs, is designed to go throughout America. Whether the cartel takes them to your city or whether your own government takes these folks to your city, they're coming to cities near you. I watched a video the other day, and it was somebody talking to people as they walked by coming out across the border. They had just come across somebody saying, hey, where are you going? Probably 20 of those people. Not a single one of them said Arizona or Texas. One of them said California. Two of them said Florida. But everybody else said Illinois, Colorado, Iowa, all Midwest states. This is designed to take people throughout the country. It's the only way that the government can keep the American people from realizing the impact this is having on our country. And it is also designed by the cartel to distribute their product throughout America so that they can sell it in your community. And I'll just say, my slogan is, what happens in my backyard today will be in your front yard tomorrow. So what we do down here in Arizona, we feel matters greatly to not just our community, but to America.
Yeah, and as we talk about that, we really try to understand, and I think we're getting a better picture of it on a daily basis. But the human trafficking that you do, and these people that are coming across or being pushed across these drugs, we're talking about a lot of victims and a few really bad people, right? I mean, a lot of these people are victims, right? These human traffic people that are coming across, they're not coming across, and once they get across, they're not free to go about what they want to do either. I mean, aren't they coming across and also being like a form of slavery?
Absolutely. Our government's inaction and their policies are contributing to the mistreatment of not just Americans, but not more importantly, but also they are contributing to the mistreatment of these folks who want to come here and make a better life. Now, mind you, not everybody does want to come make a better life, and not everybody that's coming across is a good person. I would say, I spoke to a congresswoman the other day from another state. She was a Democrat congresswoman, and I appreciated her taking the time to talk to me. But she kept saying, well, what do we do about all these good people trying to come across? We need to let them in. And I said, okay, let me put it to you this way. If I showed up to you and I said, hey, look, I got 10 people I'm going to let into your house. 5 of them are good, 5 of them are bad. But I'm not going to tell you which ones they are. You're going to say, hell no, you're not letting those 10 people in my house. But somehow in America we think, well, let's go ahead and let everybody in because there's a few good people in there. And I would say that the numbers are probably even higher, that we are now allowing more and more nefarious people that have bad intentions to come into this America. We had people from over 160 different countries come to America last year. You think every one of those people from those countries have their America's best interest in mind? No.
Well, and as you're down there, and I know you got them, they're coming from all over South America, right? It's not in Central and South America. It's not just one state or one area. It's everywhere, right? They're coming from all over the place, right?
They're coming from Russia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from Africa, Haiti, Cuba. I mean, they're coming from everywhere. The majority of these folks come from different countries throughout the globe. What we get in our area are predominantly Mexicans because of the area where we're dealing with a place where the cartel pushes military-age men through in camouflage clothes, carpet shoes, backpacks. They are designed to avoid detection. We have a pursuit to 2 pursuits a day on our freeways when we're out working those areas. So, yeah, the people we're trying to catch are not, they're trying to come in undetected. Down in Yuma or in Texas, those folks are what we call give-ups or layups, where they just walk across the border and then turn themselves in. And just so your listeners understand, of those people that are coming in, our government is giving them a court date from anywhere between 2 to 5 years from now.
Jesus.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Wow.
No.
That doesn't even make any sense.
That got some silence, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
And how effective is that? I mean, let's be honest. How effective is that in understanding and controlling what we really want? And share in my opinion, and I don't know that it matters, but that all that much is in the long run. But what we want is a legal influx of people, right? We want them to. I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. We're talking about the opportunity, and we're not denying the opportunity of people to come here, but we want them to do it legally and with purpose and not illegally, right? We want them to have the not necessarily the means. We'll take you're tired, you're weary, you're poor, but we want you to do it right. We want you to do it the right way when you come in here.
Absolutely. Look, I know Rick and I, what we share in common is our families have spent a lot of time in Panama. My family has spent a lot of time in, I've spent time in Argentina, the Philippines. We've gone all over the world, and you know what? It's been nice to visit those countries. And I'm all about people coming here and make a better life for themselves. All I ask is that they do it the right way. That's all I ask. When I went to those countries, I did it the right way. And so we're asking the same thing. And I don't think that's too much to ask, but when and at the same time, I just want to add this: when our government does not secure our borders, they are undermining the rule of law at its fundamental core. The first message they're sending to these people coming to this country is that our laws don't matter. At least you can pick and choose which laws matter as long as it aligns with your politics. And so I think that's dangerous, and it's reckless, and it also is unfair to the people who did do it the right way. And it's unfair to these people that are coming here illegally because you're putting them behind the 8 ball. They can't get a license, they can't get a job, they can't get insurance on their cars. So when they crash into your truck, they don't have insurance. These are all issues that stem from that flow of illegal trafficking into America.
Sheriff, I do appreciate you coming on today, and I'm telling you, this is an issue that's going to be ongoing, and we're going to have to fix it. I mean, this isn't something that we can ignore. This isn't something that's just going to go away. And we're going to, and unfortunately, usually in instances like this, and I'll tell you in all honesty, it usually takes a major calamity before we all realize, a massive tragedy before we all realize exactly the extent of the damage that's being done. We don't put lifeboats on boats till the big ones sink. Right, and I think we're talking about the same thing here, but we all have to get the message out, and I appreciate you coming in here, telling us what needs to be done, and I encourage every listener that we have today to take heed to what Sheriff Lamb is telling you. Sure. Understand the difficulties that our borders are, the dangers, and what's going on down there. Don't turn from them, but face these problems head on, and let's get with our governments. Let's get with our local, state, and federal governments and try to make a genuine difference in changing the laws and helping assist in these horrible problems that's going on. And I appreciate you coming here today, Sheriff, and shedding light on some of these issues. I am going to ask that if we have an opportunity in the future, we would welcome you back, sir.
Well, I appreciate it. If you want to come support me, you can go to AmericanSheriff.com. Also, I have a book, American Sheriff, Traditional Values in a Modern World. You can get that on Amazon, or you can also get that at AmericanSheriff.com or on my wife's website, Sheriff'sWife.com. And follow me on Instagram is American Sheriff, and Facebook is Sheriff Lamb. Twitter doesn't matter. I don't use that anymore. And Truth Social, American Sheriff.
Oh, wow. You are just lining it up, man. I like it and appreciate it. Hey, before you get out of here, I'm going to ask you to do me one thing before you leave us. And I ask this all of our guests, and I'm going to ask it of you. Just say who you are, and then say Sheriff Lamb and County Sheriff of Pinal County, and then say you are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Can you do that for me?
I'm going to try. See if I can remember it. Hey, Sheriff Lamb out here in Pinal County, Arizona. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in America.
That'll work. We'll take
I
it.
like it.
We'll take it. Thank you, Sheriff, man.
What in America?
We'll take it, man. I do appreciate you, Sheriff. Hey, man, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb. Thank you, Sheriff Lamb.
We'll
Be
see
good,
ya.
buddy. Appreciate that. All right.
Have a
Drive
good one,
safe.
guys. God bless.
Bye
Thank
now.
you, buddy. Drive safe, Dave. That was awesome there, sir.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, the problem is real. The situation is dire, and you know what? Only we can make a difference in some way, shape, form, or fashion. We can't leave these guys out to dry out there facing on the front lines. We've got to support each and every one of them in a different way, and I'm glad Sheriff came on and shed some light on some of the issues going on out there. All right, everybody, what we will do is we will take a quick break, and when we come back, we will talk a little weather. We'll talk a little weather. with the
We can talk
double-
whatever we want to talk, Drive. You know what? You're a little starstruck right now.
I am.
You
I'm a
just
little- I'm a little
interviewed
mad.
Sheriff Lamb,
I
Drive
mean,
Safe Dave.
I know.
That's-
I'm fixing to go log on his website here in a minute and check out.
I'm going to tell you. So there's a big reason why I let you take that over, Dave, because I wanted you to able to use that on your resume. You know, put that on your resume to get you out. Hey, Drives, hey, let's not forget this. That interview was brought to you by Utility Pro.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you something. Utility Pro, I'm supporting some of their shirts today. Once again, I love their stuff. I love their material. I love the way it feels. And you know what? I look daggum good. You know what? You know, who looks better? You know what? Sheriff Lamb, get you one of these Utility Pro shirts. The dude's a big dude. You see some of those pictures of him during that B-roll of him having them, what was it, bullets around his neck?
No, those are 30 cal bullets.
I would have fallen over. I would have fallen over.
Hey,
There's
look
no
a
doubt
little like
about it.
Rambo out there with some 30 cal shells wrapped around his neck on the belt.
That was awesome, man. Loved having him on there. All right, you know what? We're going to come back. We're going to try to, now let's remember, we're going to come back from break. Dale's waiting in line to come on. We have to remember we had some technical difficulties with that board behind you. We can't promise anything. We may not be able to show you the weather, but Dale will be able to tell you a story about the weather. Maybe we'll start it off with
Wow.
Once Upon a Time. Who knows what's happening next, but that is coming up. BCB Live, safest station in the nation.
Throw it over. This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high quality, ANSI certified, high visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityprowear.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
You got to be prepared to stop. And when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
Welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Hey, a little technical difficulties with the board. This is Double Check down in front of the camera. We're going to talk a little bit of weather. Fortunately, it's just kind of like unfortunately, it's kind of like a broken record right now. The hot story is the winds across the western United States. I know we have just got some major steady winds with some very, very strong gusts in certain parts. Southern Colorado, western Colorado. You know, we're seeing gusts in excess of 50 miles an hour already this morning. Only supposed to get worse today. So that's probably the major storm. It's the west, southwest. We will see it here in the Texas area going up through Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, getting up into Nebraska and Iowa. And then along with that, we are going to see some thunderstorms, some major thunderstorms coming on through that same area. The winds come in first. We get all the wet moisture coming up through the Gulf Coast. It mixes and we get some pretty volatile weather going on with thunderstorms going up through that area. And they will start moving to the east. There are going to be some localized flooding with that. There is some chances of tornadoes in the areas with those thunderstorms. So if you're traveling today, you know, find that local weather station. Find out what's going on around you. If the winds are blowing If the winds are blowing over 40 and gusting to 50 or stronger, hey, pull it over, park it up. Even a loaded trailer can be blown over with 50-mile-an-hour winds. And so there are definitely some areas out there that are going to exceed that wind gusts today. So just be very, very aware of, it's that situational awareness today with the weather. So be aware of that. Hey, with that, we're going to take a short break and come back and talk safety.
BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave here along with Double Check Dale. And I'm telling you, we're talking about work zone safety. What have we got going on?
We said it yesterday and I'll say it again today. Did you know there are over 700 fatalities in work zones every year? And we just need to pay attention. We always talk about being situational awareness and distracted driving and paying attention to what's going on. But it's even more important that you keep your eyes on the road when you're in the work zone. Be aware of the signage, because a lot of times we see those lane changes, reduced speeds, flaggers may be in the area, workers may be close by. So just really have to take extra care when we're in a work zone to avoid those distractions. Make sure that cell phone's down. Hey, turn that radio off. Stop your eating until we get through that active work zone.
Yeah, as you come into a work zone, it's a good idea to get off the gas, right? To get off the accelerator and find ways to be safer in there. Look, you're going to have people flying through there not paying attention, not slowing down, doing everything, just thinking it is an obstacle that they're moving through, and it's not just an obstacle that they're moving through. It's actually a work area where people are trying to get a job done, to perform the duties and to make the roads safer and a better place. And we got to give them the respect they deserve, right?
Yeah, I've never seen the speed increase as you come up to a work zone. So just it's always
please
time
increase
to slow
speed.
down. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that either.
So it's just that when you start seeing those signs, you got to be prepared to slow down. So when you get into that work zone, if those workers are around, that you're at the right speed, slower than that. It doesn't hurt to be underneath the posted speed limit in a work zone.
So you came to work today, and I don't know exactly how far you live from work, but how many work zones do you think you moved through before you got here today? Do you think you can count them?
I could count them. I only live 5 miles from work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, but the further out you go, the better.
When I was looking at videos, and just the amount of work zones you see in the videos anymore, it's just about almost every other one, 50% at least, we're seeing work zones or signage for a work zone. So, we're at that time of year where, construction.
They're out there.
They're out there.
Yeah,
and increasing.
Yeah, they're going to be out there. They're going to be out there day and night. They're going to be out there in the difficult times to see, and believe it or not, just because there's difficult weather or high winds doesn't mean they're stopping their job, and you've got to slow down. You've got to be careful out there. I do know that as I went home the other day, and I went through. I didn't go on the freeway the whole way. I actually went around, and I counted 7 work zones that I went through for whatever reason, whether they were just a simple construction, building, working on a barrier or just some cones out. But I counted 7. And it takes me about 15 minutes to get home. That's a big number.
Yeah, I think one of the things that has changed most over the years is in the old days, you didn't see so many active work zones at night, but anymore it seems like you're seeing more and more active work zones during the evening hours, try to get away from the heavy traffic and stuff. So it doesn't matter if you're driving day or night, those work zones can be active.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, as we move into the summer months, those nighttime work zones are there for a reason. They're there because that heat can be pounding and punishing, and they're doing a lot of that during those high heat times to avoid those also for their workers. So,
yep.
All right, and as we continue,
hey, we got videos here. We're going to show some videos. I'm going to switch them up. We're talking construction zones. For the first two videos, we're going to show construction zone videos, and here goes video number one, and it's a broke down vehicle that we see on the side of the road.
Yeah, I mean, so we got the orange barrels out there. We're coming into a construction zone. We have a broke down vehicle. This driver is just doing a super job of getting the speed way, way down there. And as we start to go past, moving over as far as he can to give that broke down vehicle thing. The one thing that I noticed here is the person that's standing alongside the vehicle, no safety blaze or no protective equipment. So that's something, carried along. If you broke down, put that on.
Yeah, and any time that you break down, and if this truly, you need to have the triangles out. You need to make sure that they're out up until the time you move. Now, I don't know if he was fixing to move yet, but you really need to make sure those are out in position in a way, and you pick those up last before you get out of there. So when you do see this, make sure that if you are the broke down vehicle, that you get your triangles out. Another thing, notice how they're working there on the side of the road. The driver does a fantastic job of moving through this difficult area. Not only is it a work zone, but a difficulty within the work zone.
Yep. And the other thing is, if you're the one going through this work zone, put your four-way flashers on. Warn other people that, the speed is way reduced, that there's an obstacle ahead.
Absolutely. And here we are in another construction, and look, there's a redirection of traffic. Not allowing much of a merge lane.
No.
And then you jump right directly onto the freeway. Man, you talk about a difficult position here.
Yes. This one's not well laid out. I mean, you just really have to be practicing your patience and try to get away from that mindset, well, I'm going to time this just right, because that is pretty close when that vehicle, four-wheeler, goes past there. So just, practice your patience, pack your patience.
And a lot of the times, believe it or not, you can't see very well. And if that car moves through, you got to make sure that the situation is clear. Some people are running without lights or running behind this vehicle. You wouldn't see it if they didn't have their lights on. You wouldn't see the vehicle behind this one if you were, so like you can see that one, but this next one, if there is not this one but the next one, if you're looking back, you wouldn't see the vehicle behind them if they didn't have their lights on. And believe me, people run around without lights on whenever possible because they just forget to do so, and you'll put yourself in a bad position here, not being better prepared to stop.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this video. Let's just look at this. I mean, you're turning, you're coming on an exit ramp. There's construction. It's nighttime. So much going on in here, and again, one thing we want to always remind everybody is that, hey, speed is always a good thing. You can always reduce your speed to make sure you can get on, to make sure you're making the safest decision, but it is, and it's just so much going on in this video, just some of the challenges that these drivers have to continue to face every single day.
I will tell you that if you move onto a lane like that, slower than the normal traffic, go ahead and throw your hazards on so everybody can see you, and they'll know that something's going on. All right, here we are. Pulling up, I can't see the concrete in front of me here at this light. In fact, I can see what sweater the person is wearing in the vehicle in front of us.
I can see who made that sweater.
I know what size it is. Look, there's no reason to get this close to the vehicle in front of you whenever you stop. I understand what's going on, but you know what? If they do come over like that, it's not a big deal, right? Just stop. Give yourself plenty of room, plenty of space.
You think we're just kind of letting them know that we didn't appreciate that? You think that's what we see right here? Nothing good. I mean, what happens if you accidentally bump it? Just barely. Well, guess what? When you barely bump that car with this truck, there's going to be damage to the car. Right? And then all of a sudden, we're back again. Yeah, there you go, Dale. Somebody's neck's going to hurt.
Yeah.
All of this starts to
collision.
happen. Yes. And that's the time, above all, when you have to to just practice the pace. I know it pisses you off. I get that part. But what we want you to do is just to let it go, right?
You're not the judge, jury, or executioner here. What you are is the professional driver, and the professional driver takes a little space out of it. All right. Here we go. Look at this. Nice.
Speaking of professional drivers, here you have it right here. They know what red means.
Yep.
Still green light up ahead, understanding that it will change eventually. And when it does, the driver is prepared to stop and not going to do the move the four-wheeler does on the right-hand side.
Speaking of four-wheelers, let's look at this four-wheeler.
All right, we got a lot going on here. We're in the center lane, lane number 2. Oh, wait, I decided, let me move over. Hey, I need to brake check you before I get over. So,
but you know, the professional driver in here does a great job. As soon as that signal comes on, starts slowing down, backing off, and creating that space. And so, I mean, even though, you know, this four-wheeler does, I got to get over, you know, professional driver here does a good job of immediately backing away from it.
Are we signaling the driver to come on over? Is that what we're doing? Or are we flashing the driver? I got a little, are we saying, hey, come on over, I'm blinking you in, or are we waiting until they're in and then we hit them with the brakes? I'm not sure exactly what transpires there, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say we hit them with the brakes. What would you say, Sir Rick?
I didn't see the brights.
Okay, here we go. We're coming over. Right here, you're coming over, and bam, brights up. And then brights down.
Got it, okay. Yeah, just
probably a little irritated.
Hey, I'm back here, dude.
You know what? If you're gonna get angry, if that's what it takes, I guess that's better than driving up on the driver still, right? Yeah. Trying to get close. If we can back that down,
you know,
that's a reminder. Hey, dude, look behind you. I mean.
Hey, big rig back here, and not only that, you brake check before you come over. But, you know,
it's one thing to get in the lane. It's the other thing to put the brakes on, right? I mean, that's just, this whole thing's weird right here. You know, I'm right here. The truck's getting, can the truck get any closer before I get in front of him? You know, what are you thinking in here?
And you know, I mean, there are times when you signal somebody to come on over, but I don't think this is the come on over signal.
It's a little late for that, I believe.
I think, after they're in the lane, can't find the switch. All right, here we are in another dark night running in the hammer lane.
Just the importance of space. I mean, you know, because the vehicle in front of this one, hard brakes. And because of the space that the other driver had, plenty of time to slow down, not get gathered up, and keeps that space in front of them. Just a great job here, driver, of keeping your space, managing your speed.
Yeah, and it does close dramatically quickly, and our truck and our driver and whoever it is out there driving does a great job in slowing and then allowing it to open back up. But you know what? This is a good distance at the beginning of this video. I think it's almost 4 seconds.
Yeah. Some good videos this morning. Some interesting.
Yeah, some
start with that
videos.
Construction zone.
I'll tell you what, that redirection of traffic, you know, where you jump on, where they've got the merge lane closed and multi-lanes of traffic closed, and it's down to single lane, and you're forced to jump out right there where everybody's doing a high rate of speed out there. That's a difficult situation to encounter, especially at night when it's not well lit, right? There's no lights out there showing everybody what to do and what's going on. It makes it dangerous. As you can see right there, they're not slowing down driving in front of you. I mean, they're not slowing down going, hey, come on over.
Yeah, there's a difficult merge point. I'm going to slow down just in case. Now, they just keep on hammering through. And sometimes you got to wonder if the person that laid that out or engineered it actually drove it after he got done doing that and go, hey, this isn't a very good layout. I need to do something different. So,
well, I just recommend that when you do get into those situations, that you let everybody know what's going on and throw out your hazards if you can. If you get in that lane, let everybody see you, because being seen, and right over there, Sir Rick, Mr. Ansi, ProWear guy, and y'all, being seen is half the battle. And once you're seen, people can react accordingly.
What'd you think about Sheriff Lamb? Did you get a chance to watch him today, Dale?
I did. Enjoyed it immensely, yeah. And if I'd had that those bullets or shells on my thing, I'd have been on my knees, because that looked like a pretty heavy
bullet belt, with all that copper on there, and on that 30 cal. Did you see the 30 cal in the background on that vehicle? Yeah. That right there is a machine. That will vaporize. Oh, here it is.
take a little look here at this. You know, if you're going to get pulled over by somebody, I want to get pulled over by Sheriff Lamb, right? I mean, that's the guy you want to get pulled over by.
Yeah, I don't want to get pulled over.
I mean, but if you're going to get pulled over, I wonder how many selfies he gets when he's writing tickets. Hey, thanks for the ticket, Sheriff Lamb. Can I get a quick selfie with you real quick?
Yeah, well, I'm sure it happens, and that's pretty cool stuff right there. You know, he speaks well of what's going on there, and I was excited to have him on. When we did the pre-interview, man, I came to Rick and I go, "This is going to be a good interview."
Yeah, and it was. I mean,
yeah, Rick's like, yeah, oh, yes, we know. But I think I had a little bit of a man crush going on there, Sir Rick, right there when we were talking, so.
Yeah, I just like, I like the point of view, and he did a very good job of explaining it and why it's important. And like I said, what happens in our backyard happens up here tomorrow. I mean, and so we just have to protect the borders and watch.
That was probably one of the greatest lines I heard, and I've heard him say it before, but it kind of resonated today when he said that. Speaking to us is, what happens in our backyards today happens in your front yard tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
That was just such a true statement.
Yeah, he said that's his slogan.
That was phenomenal. And
yeah, that's his slogan.
I hope he's got it copywritten because we're fixing to steal it.
All right, Sir Rick, why don't you lead us out with a prayer this time?
Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day you've given us. Continue to watch over us, bless us, and keep us safe on the roads. We ask a special prayer for these drivers and the law enforcement today, that you keep them safe, you get them home to their family safe, you get them back to their people safe. Watch over us, help us as a country get through all of the struggles that we have. Let us remind us and teach us how to love one another. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen. Everybody, I want you to make it a safe one. Thank you for watching BCB Live. Folks, we are what?
The safest station in the nation.